Hey, what is up guys, it's ThatguyJosh here. Splatoon 2 has been released to global praise as a great sequel to the 2015 Splatoon original on the Wii U. The game is a lot better and a lot more polished than the original right from the start, with more modes and generally more content than the first. Some might say that it's too similar, but that doesn't really mean that it's bad. Besides that, there's always the fact that they're going to be adding more along the line anyway. The very first Splatfest is going to be held this weekend versus May and Ketchup, Team Mayo for the win. And to prepare for that, I thought I'd show you guys some uncommon but extremely useful tactics to use in Splatoon 2's multiplayer, specifically ranked mode. Getting kills in Splatoon 2 is a lot more important than you might make it out to be. A lot of people tend to think that getting kills isn't really that important and you should mainly be focused on covering turf or getting the objective. While this may be true for Turf War, it's far from the truth in all of Splatoon 2 ranked battle mode. The reason getting kills is so important is because it essentially gives you a power play where you can complete your objective a lot more easily than if the other team was alive. Getting triple kills is significantly more meaningful in Splatoon 2 than like Call of Duty, because there's only 4 people on the team, and if you get a triple kill, that means that only one person is out on the other team is out there doing their job, which means that you have the massive upper hand to go and get the Rainmaker or go and capture the zone or etc. This is also true in Turf War. One way of getting kills easily is by jumping. Jumping while shooting, especially with splatter shot type weapons, is extremely effective at getting that slight edge on your enemy and inking that slight bit of turf that you couldn't get. Another way this is very useful is that it allows you to get a distance from your enemy very effectively, as it kind of pressures them to stay away. This is one of the main reasons I do not like the dualies, because the button to dodge roll is the same button as jump, so you cannot do this technique if you use the dualies. Although, to be fair, the dodge roll is pretty good. Obviously, the main game mechanic of Splatoon is that you have to ink your turf. Now, a lot of people tend to think that in ranked battle, it doesn't matter if you ink turf, you just have to complete the objective. However, it's still very, very important to ink turf because it helps you significantly complete your objective. In every single mode, it's very, very important, because in Rainmaker, you're bringing a item to the other team's base, and if their base is covered in their ink, then you can't really move, and you're probably going to get splatted and lose the Rainmaker. So you want to make sure that your general area is covered with your ink so that it allows for much easier movement. This applies to every single ranked mode, because in tower control you're trying to bring a tower to the other team's base, and in splat zones you're trying to control an area, which makes inking other turf even more important. I have lost all too many games of Rainmaker and tower control by nobody on our team, including myself. I am quite guilty of this as well, not inking any turf other than what is absolutely necessary. So yeah, ink turf in ranked mode as well. It helps a lot. On the subject of rushing to the middle, however, one very uncommon tactic that I'd like to see more of is the use of curling bombs and ink brushes to get to the center much more quickly. Curling bombs are by far the fastest way to get to the center, because you can simply throw them and travel at swim speed the entire way, and by the time they run out, you can just throw another one and get to the Rainmaker or the tower or the splat zone almost like right as the game starts. Another thing you can do is use the ink brush and just run there, because when you're using the ink brush, you run just as fast as you swim. So yeah, the one downside to using the ink brush, however, is that the Octobrush is just so much better in terms of damage, ability to ink turf and kill people. It's just generally significantly better, so I don't really see that many ink brush users out there. However, curling bombs I'd like to see a lot more of. Once again, I kind of understand why. As of right now, there isn't really many good kits that use curling bombs, at least in like the mid levels. I'm not really at max level yet, I can't really say for sure. But I'd really like to see more uses of curling bombs and ink brushes to get to the middle. Another thing that's extremely uncommon that I would like to see more, and that I am trying to do more myself because I still need to get into the habit of it, is saying ouch when you die, especially in a ranked battle mode. This might seem just stupid and kind of a dumb emote, however it's actually very useful. The reason it's useful is because it lets you know where the enemy is, at least for like that second that you died, so that you have a general idea of where the enemy is, where it could go, and how you can get to it and how you can take this person out. Because remember before, having less enemies on the field is a very good thing. Another tip I have that I have lost all too many games of Rainmaker and Tower Control to is to protect your teammate who has the Rainmaker, or protect the people on the tower. I have lost all too many games by nobody defending me as I try and bring the Rainmaker, and I have won all too many games by the other team not having any defense on the person with the Rainmaker and us just being able to take it back almost instantly. It's very crucial that you cover and protect your teammate with the Rainmaker, because while the Rainmaker can shoot giant bombs, they're very slow and you have very low movement when you have the Rainmaker. And especially in tower control, it's even more crucial because you're very, very vulnerable on that tower. So you want to have some people around the tower, not on the tower, covering the area with ink, like I said previously, and trying to get rid of all the enemy threats as much as possible so you can just bring the tower there as safely as you can and win. While Splatoon is a very team-focused game, it's still very important to keep in mind that it is not a good idea to stay cramped in one area, especially on tower control. The reason of this is because it's honestly quite easy to splat your enemies. They don't take that many hits unless you have like a really low damaging weapon, and especially with octobrushes and sloshers, it's really easy to kill your enemies. So a very bad idea is to stay all in one area, because usually if you're all in one area and you get splatted, almost your entire team or your entire team will get splatted. And if you get team wiped, you are extremely vulnerable for at least 5 seconds, and you can't do anything about it because your entire team's dead. So while you do want to stay close and work with your team and not just like do your own thing and just ignore everybody else, you want to make sure that you keep your distance from everybody so you don't get splatted at the same time as like your entire team. One of the core game mechanics of Splatoon is swimming in your own ink to reload your ink. Now this is a very intuitive mechanic, but I feel like it's not used as well as it could be by the players. What I'm getting at is that instead of just going in squid form and just sitting there until your ink is reload, try and optimize your movement so that whenever you're swimming, you're doing it for a purpose and you're making sure that you are going to like your next destination, you're going to help your teammates, or you're just like swimming away from your enemy. It doesn't matter, just whatever you do, do not stay still. Staying still in Splatoon is a bad idea unless you're a charger, in which case it's actually pretty useful. But staying still is just, you're not contributing at all. You always want to be on the move. You always want to be contributing to your team. So yeah, if you're reloading, make sure you're moving somewhere you know what you're doing. Try and optimize as much as you can your squid movement. On that same note, another thing that I feel like is a very, very useful technique, especially if you have the special ink armor, is that when you use your special, it completely refills your ink for you. So if you're out of ink and you don't have anywhere to go, it's very useful to just pop your special right there so that you get your ink back and you can just keep going. I myself, I'm currently using the NZAP as my main weapon, and the special on that is the ink armor. Now, what I can do in Turf War, when I'm not really like trying to be super competitive, what I will do very often is just shoot, and then whenever I don't have ink left, I usually haven't, like, my special's full, so I just pop my special, everybody gets ink armor, which benefits the entire team, and I get refilled ink, so I just continue. So this is more of a casual tip. The usage in ranked battles varies significantly depending on the special, and you definitely don't want to just be wasting your specials just so you can get your ink back. You want to use it at a useful time, but just keep that in mind, that when you use your special, it does refill your ink. Alright, so before I head off, here are some techniques for individual weapon types. For splattershot type weapons, the only real advice I could give is just to use the jumping technique. Other than that, make sure you're good at aiming, and make sure you don't aim at the ground. That's just a waste of time. For chargers, I recommend to stay back in an area that you're safe in, and do not go close quarters, because chargers are meant to be used from a distance and to get consistent kills with. Sloshers and brush users, make sure you're flanking your enemies. This is the main way of using your sloshers and brushes, is by flanking your enemies and taking them out and then taking the objective. This also goes with the dually users, although they can be very similar to the splattershot user. If you're going to use a roller in ranked battle, make sure you're covering turf, because that's what the roller was made for. Make sure that you're doing what I said earlier and covering turf so that your teammates can get around much more easily. Other than that, the roller is also pretty good at killing if you steamroll people. For splatling users, personally I don't really use splatling at all. I do not like it at all. But I guess the one advice I could give is to make sure when you're charging up, you're safe, and that you can't get hit, or that you are relatively safe, so that if you do get hit, it's fine, it's no big deal. Make sure that when you charge up, it's a good idea. So yeah, those are all the tips I have for today. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. I certainly had a lot of fun making it. Splatoon 2 is a great game so far, so I might be making more videos about Splatoon 2 if you guys would enjoy that. If you guys are new, make sure to subscribe and like and share with your friends. Anyway, that's all I have to say for today, so bye guys!